positivity. I am so excited. So Mercury, as you know, just went direct yesterday, and Mercury going direct is a funny thing because everyone's always like, when's Mercury ending? When's Mercury ending? So I can like sign my contracts and do all the things and buy electronics and have things not break down. But the funny thing is Mercury causes a lot of mischief even after it goes direct. And the day it goes direct is kind of intense. It's like, it's like a train that's going really fast. And then all of a sudden it decides it needs to change direction and goes to a screeching halt. And then everyone goes and lurches forward, and then it turns around. So there's this shadow period after Mercury goes direct, and it's an integration time. But the next few days is still going to feel like Mercury retrograde. But now that Mercury's direct, I am doing a lot of things that I realized that I wanted to do during Mercury retrograde. First of all, I didn't realize that on Instagram that you can post videos that are longer than 5 minutes. So I'm going to be posting Instagram videos, all these RE words. So I realize is still an RE word. And then I had someone contact me on Instagram, someone I did a reading for 8 years ago. And she was telling me all about, because in my last video, I was saying I don't really do fortune telling, but she was telling me all these things that I predicted for her that came true. Now I don't predict things. What we do is we see probabilities, right? So it's kind of like an intuitive's like a GPS. They show you probabilities. They show you like, this is where you're heading and this is where you're going, but this is where your destiny is. And it's like whether they're aligned or not. Destiny meaning like your highest potential. So, and people have been asking me if I'm doing the 2020 forecast event this year. It's going to be an extravaganza. So stay tuned for that because we're starting a new decade. Anyway, so today I just wanted to pop on because we're doing a Facebook Live on Saturday, which is the new moon. And I'm trying new equipment, and there's this platform we're streaming on that I'm trying. So I'm really excited about that. So we thought we'd come on and test it out because these are some of Mercury retrograde lessons, right? Like you don't want to just fly by the seat of your pants necessarily. And next year, 2020, is a 4 universal year, and 2020 being a 4 universal year is really very much about structure and taking the necessary steps. Now, of course, I'm going to be talking a lot about that. So right now, and a lot of you know that I'm sharing my course, Numerology Illuminated, which is all about life path numbers in depth, all of the life path numbers. And I wanted to come on here as we're testing the equipment and just do a couple of readings of people's life path numbers. So if you want me to, first of all, there's a wizard in the background here. Her name is Jess. You may know her as my Chief Happiness Officer. Hi, Jess. She's got her mermaid hair today. She looks so beautiful. So, Jess is going to be helping. Jess helps with everything. I mean, honestly, my New Year wish for you is that you all find a Jess in your life, or someone like Jess. She's so incredible. So anyway, she's going to be helping right now too, fielding questions. So if you have a question about something that's going on in your life right now and you need some clarity on, or just your life path number in general, we're going to be doing a couple of readings here. This is just a brief test. We're coming on here to test, but still, I'd like, let's play a little bit. So if you have a question, put in your birthday, and if you know your life path number, that makes it easier for me, so we don't have the radio silence right now. Or Jess can also help. Jess, you could probably help look up their life path number.
Absolutely. Also, you guys, I just posted the link to Kari's life path calculator, which you can also go and learn a little bit about your life path number there. But if you want to jump over there, the link is posted right here. You should see it, hopefully. Yeah. And then you can come back and tell us, or I can calculate it for you.
Yeah, so go to karisamros.com/calculator, and it has all like it has a few calculators on there. But I think the top one is the life path number. So put in your birth date and or give us your full birth date. And if you have a question, a specific question about what's going on that you'd like us to answer, me, my spirit guides, and Jess might chime in too. She's the guide. So yeah, so Jess, what are you? Let's pick one right now. This is fun.
This is so fun. Diana says, I want to know what is the reason why Mercury retrograde brought my ex back. My life path number is 1.
Oh, okay. So Mercury has been retrograde in Scorpio. Mercury is still in Scorpio. So Scorpio is all about your passion. And if you know anything about Scorpio, it's kind of the sexy sign. Scorpios out there, you know that about yourself. Everybody knows that about you too. I mean, all signs are sexy in their own way, right? That's funny. I'm a Virgo. I'm very Virgo, and I like to debunk this Virgo myth. Beyonce is a Virgo, so she represents. I just got to say, Lauren Bacall, Selma Hayek. There's a few. so I'm like, all the signs are sexy in their own way. And Scorpio is known for intimacy. So Mercury retrograde is things coming back from your past, including people that you're rekindling, you're reconnecting with because you need to remember or recognize something that you missed. So when an old lover, especially, that's a very Mercury retrograde and Scorpio thing, because Scorpio is all about intimacy and deepening your relationships. So Mercury retrograde in Scorpio helped you recognize some things about what you need to learn about intimacy and passion and how you relate to people and how you let people in or don't let people in. Now, if you're a 1 life path, a lot of because 1 is the first number in the of all the life paths. It's our first number. Basically, it's the first prime number. So the 1s are independent, and 1s need to learn. They have lessons around independence. So in relationships, they don't like to be told what to do, first of all. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you can't get into codependency, because 1s need to learn how to stand on their own 2 feet and believe in themselves. So most likely in your relationship, and I'd love to hear your comments after I'm talking to, as we don't have the capacity yet to bring you on with us to ask the question, but so basically, and I would love to hear from all the 1 life paths out there as well. So the 1 life path, they need to learn how to stand on their own 2 feet. They need to learn how to believe in themselves. And so in terms of like their uniqueness and their ideas. So in relationships, you can get caught up in if you're not activating that, you can get caught up in people who don't believe in you, or maybe you don't have your independence in some way, and that's a shadow element of it. So I bet you anything that if you do have relationships come around again, it's to help you learn that you need to believe in yourself and forge your own path, rather than have people tell you who you are and what you can and cannot do. So I'd love to hear from you and the 1 life paths out there about that. Jess, anybody else?
Yes, actually. So Trish, where did she go? She says, this is interesting. She says, please, what do I need to learn as the parent to my son? And then she gave the birth date, the 27th of February, 76. But Trish, I wasn't sure if that's yours. If it's hers, she's a 7, or if that's your son's. So I was trying to see if she could, Trish, if you can put your son's birth date or let us know if that's yours.
Oh yeah, I'd like to know your son's birthday, because, and one of the reasons I teach numerology is because with children especially, it's really important to know their life path number. And that is why in the Numerology Illuminated course, I teach all of the life path numbers, because here's the other thing. With partners as well, with lovers, spouses, partners, business partners, anything. Opposites attract. So, for instance, my husband and I are both very psychic, so we have that in common. However, he is like infinitely more grounded than me. So, like, I teach him to be more like whatever this is. Like, very like, no, I teach him to be like, help find some levity in some areas, and he helps ground me. And in a way, they're different languages. So when opposites attract, there's different languages. So that's why it's also important to know your spouses or your partners, life path information and things about them, because it's a love language. So when you understand, like for instance, my husband is a one life path. So there's no way I'm going to tell him what he needs to do. Now remember, I'm a Virgo. We love to fix people and things. Right? Not that he needs fixing, but my point is that, like, if you can't do that with a one life path. You have to say, like, you have to let them find their way. And that's with a 5 life path as well, because 5s are very much interested in freedom, right?
So
But yeah, Jess?
I was just going to say, she gave me her son's birthday. It's March 23rd. He is a 4 life
He's
path.
a 4. Okay, thank you. And I'll talk to you about that in a minute. So, the 5 life path is all about, like, I need to learn things for myself. And same thing with the 1 life path. And so if you tell them what to do, then it's not going to work. However, sometimes, like, let's say with a 2 life path, they need a lot of affirmation. They need to be told they're doing well. So, like, each life path has their own unique way of their love language. That's why I am very passionate about sharing this information, because it is a love language. And this is one reason people always say, I wish I knew this before. So Jess, okay, so can you give me the numbers of Trish again? So she's a 7 and her son is a 4?
She is a 7. Her son is a 4.
Oh, those are very different energies. So first of all, Trish, the 7s you have to know, and Jess is a 7 life path, so you can understand. 7s need a lot of alone time, and they need to process. So if you are a mom, it's super important that you're doing that. I just have to say, 4s can be extremely demanding because they're a natural leader. So they often come in with issues around authority. And Jess is laughing. Even though her son is a 9 life path, I know all the life paths and the people. So the 4s are like, the 4s will question authority because they're here to learn how to assert their authority. And Trish, I have a feeling that you have some fears around asserting your authority, because the 7s tend to, like, just be like, that's okay. I'll just, like, kind of be in my own space and let things sort themselves out. And this little person is teaching you how to have authority. Now you have to understand 4 is the number. It's like associated with the square and foundation. 4 is associated with rules and restrictions, which are actually very healthy for the 4 life path. So you have to understand, the more you assert, it's like, I want to say, like, I always bring it like dogs, but like Caesar Milan is a little, I don't like his example because my husband does positive reinforcement dog training. Caesar's a little mean to them, but there's still that sense that, like, you have to have your authority, that dogs and humans both need healthy boundaries, or else they'll feel lost. You ever see those dogs walk around with the thunder vests on because they want to feel protected, they want to feel secure. So I believe, Trish, that you two are having some lessons around you feeling awkward and laying down your authority, and he actually needs it as a soul, because the 4s need to see positive examples of authority and leadership. Because if you look around the planet, we need that right now. Positive authority and positive. So just so you know that you're helping him karmically, the more secure you are with your being direct and your being grounded and laying down some rules and boundaries for him. I hope that makes sense. And Trish, I'd love to hear from you. And any 4 life paths, any 7 life paths, I'd love to hear from you as well. Jess, I'm going to take one more question, and then we're going to come back Saturday. So make sure you join us.
Awesome. Okay, let's see.
And also comments, if there are any comments there that are pertinent to this. Did Trish just write? I think she did.
She said positive and thank you. And then Jules said, isn't he an 11-2 life path? I'm confused.
Oh, wait a minute. Trish says he doesn't like authority from me. Yeah, Trish, I really, because that is true. Of course he doesn't like authority from you because you're not comfortable with it yet. Because that's part of your karmic soul contract together. Remember, if you watched my other video, which we can link here, we choose our parents and you choose your children to help you with your soul, your soul's evolution. So he's a lesson in your authority for you.
I made a mistake, Kari. I just realized, I'm sorry. He's actually, I thought it was 2003. He's actually an 11-2. So, eek.
Oh, okay. You know what's funny? Whenever these mistakes happen, especially on these calls, I really feel that's a divine intervention. That is part of Mercury's mischief. I notice like the mistakes we make always help us uncover things. So I do believe that was a message for you, Trish, about your authority that's still pertinent. 2, 4, and 8 are part of the same trilogy, and 2, 4, and 8 are the numbers of grounding and manifestation. Even though 2 is very psychic, it's still part of the manifestation trilogy of numbers. So they're very connected. But I do believe that message was for you to know that, because I do feel I was tuning into a lot of your 7 life path when I was doing that, which they tend to want to disappear when they just want to go away when things get a little bit like intense. And so the 2s demand your attention. The 2s are very much like they need a reflection, they need a mirror, and they do need a lot of affirmation. And yet I sense with your son, there's a difference between giving affirmation and enabling, because they need to learn how to trust their own intuition. That's a big part of the 2 life path. So a great thing that you can do with your son, or whoever has a 2 child or 2 spouse, or is it 2, a great thing that you can do is like ask them about their past lives. Ask them about what they feel instead of what they think. Ask them to tune into their feelings, because that's one thing that the 2s are needing to learn. They get confused because their mind does one thing and then your intuition's telling you another, and that can actually tear you in 2 directions. So the more you can, again, I'm still going to stay firm about the authority thing, because I really was tuning into that for you, Trish, as a life lesson, especially, like I said, the 7s like to go away and disappear in the clouds when things get, but the 2s need to learn how to tune into their feelings. So it's not about indulging their feelings when they like to have a temper tantrum or cry, because the more that you don't indulge that, the more that you can be like, just accept their feelings so that they can move through it without trying to change that, first of all. But teach them intuitive things, like have them this is for all 2 children, have them write things and draw things and tune into their inner selves. Like have them play with cards and crystals or meditate or things like that. Jess, don't you do some cool, awesome stuff? Aren't Jess's sons so lucky you chose her?
Yeah, we do a lot of my son is very interested in rocks, and so we look at crystals and we talk a lot about them and how they have special powers and they can be grounding for us. And we used a lot of that actually even at school, where if he needs to feel a little bit more grounded, he has a little rock that he can carry in his pocket. And there's all kinds of different things that you can do.
Yeah, because I do feel like the two children need a little bit, they need that thunder jacket, like I was talking about, because they're very sensitive. But, and the more that you can explore that sensitivity while still creating those boundaries so that they have, they feel safe in a world where they're very sensitive. So the authority thing still stands because I feel like, the twos need a little bit extra protection, but I get the sense that you coddle him a little bit as well because his feelings are so dramatic, because the twos can have like these very big feelings, and you have to be okay with the fact, if he's if your two child is a little dramatic, and not indulge that too much. Just let them play it out. Let them play it out. Yeah, Jess?
I was just gonna say too, and Trisha, also as a 7 life path, if you're interested in crystals and things like that too, then it can be a great way for you to kind of bridge that for him and help him kind of learn how to pull that in himself and be able to use those as tools for himself. So kind of teaching him, like, as the parent, as our jobs that we are supposed to do, so that he can also then kind of use that tool as a tool too.
Yeah, and ask, like, how do you feel? How do you feel? Instead of like, what happened? Because they need to learn how to tune into their feelings. All two people, including grown-ups. So I hope that helps. And he loves crystals. Of course he does. Introvert. Yeah, of course. Anyway, I hope that helped all the twos, parents of twos, sevens, and anyone else. So we'll take one more question.
Okay. So Josephina, I'm going to double check my numbers this time. So she is sorry, what's my calculator? She is an 8 life path, and she wants to know how they can best get along. Let me just calculate.
That's so funny. When I first heard that, Josephina, that you're an 8 life path, my stomach hurt a little bit because I thought, oh, they're going to have some power dynamics. Because the 8,
he's a 1 life
he's
path.
a 1. Well, the 8 and the 1, that's like two rams almost, they're both leadership numbers. And the 8s almost always have life lessons in relationship about power. Now, the other thing about the 8, a lot of times, it's almost like you're married to your work, because your career is always going to be a big part of what you do. And the 1s can sometimes have a lot of challenges in careers as well, because so there's a lot of money dynamics that go on here too. Money, not money, but in terms of like time, like, you're both hard workers, and since the 8 and the 1s, a lot of their life lessons show up in the realm of work. It of course filters into your relationship. Like, so for instance, the 1 life path can have trouble finding their way because who's somebody calling me? I don't know what's beeping. Sorry. The 1 life path.
I did it again. I'm sorry. I got to jump in the calculator. I put in the wrong number. He's an 11. I'm sorry.
Oh, he's an 11. That's okay. I was tuning into her as well. Well, the 11 is a double 1. So you have to understand, the 11 is 2 1s. So it's like that magnified. Jess, you're doing wonderfully, I promise. The 11 is 2 1s. So it's that double energy of like, because it's a master number. So it's actually even harder for them to master their way, because they're meant to be these leaders, and these really like forge their own path in a way that helps others. And that's really, really hard for the 1s or the 11s, because if you're an innovator and you're forging your own path, like, it's scary, because we're taught to have a security means one thing in one way. And so there's going to be that kind of dynamic. And then of course, an 8 life path who comes in there like a blazing, right? Like, cannot understand sometimes how the twists and turns of a 1 or an 11 life path. And remember, 11 reduces to 2, so they need a lot of affirmation. Even though they're a leader, like, you have to tell them they're doing well, instead of being like, why aren't you doing this? better, right? Now, the 8 life path, ooh, again, I feel this in my stomach, a lot of anxiety about power. So in your life, the 8 life path, because they're meant to learn how to be powerful leaders and also have a certain amount of status and recognition. The 8 life paths crave that, but they're also repulsed by it at the same time. So there's this fear of being too bossy, or this fear of being too powerful, that's going to be cut down in some way. And Josephina, I feel like for you that it does have to do with being a woman. I don't know if like culturally you pick something up, like, in our society, or just something, how you're taught women should or should not be, right? Too direct or too powerful, or like, make more than their husband, or anything like that. And I feel like you have a lot of, the more you're comfortable with your power, and the more you're comfortable with being direct without being afraid of being bossy, or too, or too like, who does she think she is kind of thing, the more success you're going to have in relationships, as well as work and money. Because really the 8s, the 8s have big wins and big losses. So it's a tricky path, because you're learning all about the positive use of your power, and not hiding that anymore. So I'd love to hear from you, and or any 8 life paths. Jess, we're going to wrap it up because we're going to come back Saturdays for some more. Do we have any comments here you want to share? Anything else you want to share?
Lots of lovely comments, people thanking you. Anne says, appreciate your videos. Thank you very much for your videos. Hi from Australia. Yeah.
I'm curious to hear from any of the life paths. It's okay. We got lots of time.
I wish someone did that to me when I was a child, so I find what I love in my life. Yeah, it's kind of hard because the comments were coming in as you were talking.
They come in really fast. Well, this is what I'm saying, and this is why people always tell me when they learn about their numbers that they wish they learned this a long time ago. Their numbers, their partner's numbers, their children's numbers, because it helps to be a better parent, spouse, child, sibling, co-worker, anything. So again, we have on sale right now Numerology Illuminated for 50% off. So if this does interest you, if you do want to learn more about your children, yourself, how you can be a better anything in relationships, and to really align with your own life path and what you need to be happy, then you can take advantage of Numerology Illuminated. We have the link there. It's karisamuels.com/numerology-illuminated. And again, it's 50% off this month. So I do encourage you to take advantage of it. It's really, we're getting so much positive feedback around it. Again, people always say, I wish I knew this a long time ago. So anyway, I'm going to be back on Saturday for the new moon. I love you. Thank you for joining us. This was super fun. Take care. Bye for now. And Jess,